For the newly indoctrinated, Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files follows the story of a professional wizard in Chicago. We've started our podcast as a way to help break down the series' most important moments, characters, and lore. This is McAnally's Dresden Files Pubcast by Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.
Welcome to the McAnally's Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. This is episode 8.19, Mushrooms for Liberty, where we are covering the novel Grave Peril. My name is Tansenn, and I'm joined by Maggie.
Hello, hello.
And Jess.
Hi.
Chapter 33. Dresden uses poison as a bargaining chip with Leah, which allows him to escape her grasp. Thomas and Michael stay behind to let Dresden escape. Dresden travels back from the Never Never into Bianca's mansion, directly into Bianca's clutches.
Do me a favor, Tansenn, and just read the very first paragraph of this chapter, because I think it really sets the tone for the rest of this book.
It only takes a couple of these rough little episodes of life to teach a man a certain amount of cynicism. Once a rogue wizard, or three, has tried to end your life, or some berserk hexenwolves have worked really hard to have your throat torn out, you start to expect the worst. In fact, if the worst doesn't happen, you find yourself somewhat disappointed.
So yeah. Yeah. If things weren't bad enough. I really respect Harry for those times of his life when he can't be happy, because you know what?
If it's too good to be true, it probably is, and for Harry, that's just like a base level of happiness and normalcy. It's like, wait, no, something's about to go bad.
If he only has to go to the emergency room, if he can get himself to the emergency room, things are good.
Right,
yeah.
He's banking on a lot with this whole chapter. He's just like rolling those dice, man.
And it's, again, like, it's part of a thing, like, it's part of the Dresden Files where, like, there's always just, like, that one crux of a chapter where he hits every bad guy at once, right? It's like a pinball machine, you know, like, just inevitably, in one chapter every book, he meets up with every single guy trying to kill him in, like, that Spider-Man meme when they all point guns, or the Office meme where they're all pointing guns at each other, you know, but Harry's always in the middle of it all, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like, I don't know, something, you know, I mean, this book sets the real supernatural tone for the series, but that one paragraph there where it's just like, this is the third goddamn sorcerer in like 18 months that tried to kill me, and this is like, I had all these fucking werewolves a year ago, and now I've got all these fucking ghosts, and everything sucks, and I'm in the Never Never with my godmother, and it's just like...
And of course, yeah, I'm just trying to go around and, like, rescue my girlfriend and, like, maybe Thomas's, and no.
Yeah, like, not to beat a dead horse, but, like, oh, Harry. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, buddy.
Yeah, Dresden has planned for Leah, and has Thomas and Michael toss nails around him. And while Leah's distracted, Dresden does something awful and eats something terrible. Mm-hmm. Some poisonous mushrooms.
Even not poisonous, that would be terrible. Ugh. But, yeah, so she gets real pissed off real quick. She's like, Iron! She's like, you dare defile the, I can't say that word and give it justice, defile the Anshi soil with iron, the queen will rip your eyes from your skull. He's like, yeah, relax, they're fake.
What? They're fake?
Pure, yeah, I know, pure, so yeah, she's like, you have the balls to, like, whip out iron here, and they're like, haha, psych, just kidding, wasn't real iron, we just wanted to make you think that, so Harry could be all sneaky, like, yeah, so as how she comes up, she's like, you can't escape, it's bound to you, you can't escape my power, not here in Fairy, and he's like, all true, he's like, so let's just get going. Okay, so yeah, so she's all like, you can't get away from me, my power's too strong here, and blah, blah, blah. He's like, yep, all true. He's like, let's go, show me which dog, show me which tree I can pee on. And she's like, wait, what? Like, all of a sudden, you're just like, he's like, yep, come on, let's go. So she's like, no, something's up. And Thomas is like, he's like, personally, I want to see this. He's like, I've never seen anyone get turned into a hellhound before. So he's like, have at it, right? And she's like...
Everyone just really razzes her.
I know! And she's like, not having it. She's like, what the fuck? This is not cool. Like, what's the joke? Let me in on it, kind of a thing, right? So, and even Michael, because she's like, you know, you're hiding your hidden powers, or your friend's preparing to cast, and Michael's like, nope, swear we're not. And she's like, well, fuck, I can't argue with that, because if Michael's swearing, then, like, right. So,
Leah inspects Dresden, Gives him a good old sniff and realizes he's taken toadstool, which will kill him in a few hours.
Yeah, just does the old sniffs his breath thing. Ew. Like, and just in case you didn't get it from my earlier comment, I don't like mushrooms. Mushrooms are gross. They smell bad. They taste bad. They feel bad. They're just, I'm like, don't go sniffing his breath. Like, yeah, you got mushroom breath. But yeah, destroying angel. So yeah, he goes through a nice little rundown of how it's going to, like, melt all his insides and make his brains leak out through his ears within, like, a couple of hours or something ridiculous. Or anywhere from a few
awful
minutes.
Description.
Oh, God. That does not sound like a nice way to die at all.
Yeah. Not only is he risking things, but he's, like, risking things in the most horrible kind of way.
Yeah, right? Not just, like, gonna stop your heart and you'll be done, but, like, literally, like, liquefy all your organs and crap into slow, painful death. I'm like, ugh. Well, semi-slow. I mean, I guess it's not gonna... But yeah, she's like, you're lying, you're tricking, and he's like, what? He's like, you know I can't lie to you, like, I'm a terrible liar, and also, like, you know, you're a fairy and all this kind of crap, right? And yeah, she realizes that he's not joshing. Like, this is not a trick, he, like, actually legitimately, and she's like, you've gone mad. And he's like, well, you know, not mad, just, you know, he's like, I know I can't lie to you, so, yeah, tricking with the truth, so,
I just love Harry and Michael. I just love them.
Yeah. Harry, are you sure we shouldn't? Shh, ixnay. She's like, what? What are you doing? What do you got? He's like, ugh, fine, tell him.
He lets on that he has extract of St. Mary's thistle, which just might help with the poisoning.
Only if it's taken in time.
All right.
Yeah. Leah, what would you be willing to give for this vial of,
Yeah, I was just
anecdote?
like, give it. And he's like, godmother, you know you can't just accept a gift from someone. She's like, you fucking fuckers.
Yeah.
So finally, Harry is learning a little bit. He's still sort of breaking his word, but at least he does it on her terms now, and he twists it around to renegotiate the deal.
Well, and Thomas offers that new bargain to let him go and to be bound for a year and a day to do no harm to Dresden or his freedom on the condition that he remains in the mortal realm.
Yeah.
It's not such a bad deal.
It doesn't sound so bad. So as long, and I mean, as far as Dresden's concerned, like as far as we've seen so far, he doesn't usually have a lot of reason to go traipsing around in the Never Never. So to him, that shouldn't really be a hugely big deal. He's like, I will stay out of your way, you stay out of mine, and, you know, we'll redress this in a year when I can try and figure out some other way to weasel out of it then.
A year and a day.
A year and a day. Why is that so significant to you? I figured that just makes for like weird leap year shit, or just, it's nice that you can't argue is the year up today or is it up tomorrow? Or is there some other significance to 1 year and 1 day?
No, we'll hear it again.
Oh, okay.
So we're just taking note of that for future.
It's a year and a day.
Yeah, okay, it was just the way you said that. It's like you were imbuing it with some other meaning.
Leah really doesn't understand why Harry would do this to himself, and he has to explain to her that he helps people he wants to help the people that are in danger because of him. And she just thinks he's off his rocker and mentions, just like his mother, but she does accept the bargain.
Well, yeah. Leah went and showed her hand in the first place when they were at the party, right? Like, she's like, your power is useless to me right now. Like, you're so weak right now that it's not even fun for me to take what power you do have because you don't have any anymore. Leah fully showed her hand when she said, she's like, you're nothing to me if you're dead. You're nothing to me if you don't have power. She's like, not only do I need you alive, but I need you to be, I'd say, a fully functioning wizard, but a fully functioning dog who was once a wizard.
Be healthy.
Yeah. Right, but
yeah, it does kind of make you wonder what turning him into, does that just sort of, does he like retain the power and she just has control of it, and the fact that she has control of the dog? Or does she kind of get to suck up his power and then just turn him into a dog, right? Like you say, she doesn't want him at half battery like he is, but kind of makes you wonder, how does she get to utilize that?
It struck me as kind of more like that she's got this really sadistic streak, like that she gets off on the more power that she can remove from somebody or like willingly have given to her in a way, the more she gets off on it. That's my theory.
But that's what I mean. Is it just sort of trapping Dresden with that power so that he can't really do anything with it? Or does she actually get to like what's the word? Absorb that power if she makes him like a pet to her, kind of, you know what I mean?
I almost take the dog thing as like being in stasis. Like she just kind of pauses it. Like maybe one day you'll be useful and I'll turn you back in. You'll have no choice but to do my bidding. But until that day, maybe 100 years from now,
So
you'll be
yeah,
my
so
dog.
basically just holding it in check. Like she doesn't necessarily have that power, but Dresden can't do anything useful with it. He's not running around saving the planet or anything. So
I'd go so far and to say she
basically-
can do whatever she wants. If she wanted to take the power for herself, she could do it and leave him as a mangy little dog. If she wants to pause him, okay, fine, he's paused.
Pause
and she
him.
can. Well, yeah. Nice.
okay.
Listen,
Anyways.
you 1 week later, you're still dying from COVID, so be careful, okay? I think, Leah is pretty much, she's able to do whatever the fuck she wants, and if that means that she's gonna take his power for herself, if she's gonna keep him as a dog in stasis, if she's gonna do a little 50-50 and just, like, slowly drain it out of him as, like, a torture device for a couple millennium or whatever the fuck it is, either way, it's no fun for her if he's dead and nothing, or if he's got no power and nothing.
Yes.
Right, so, but I would also take it in another way, is that maybe she never had any intention to turn him into a dog at all. That's just a fun threat she likes to give because she has dogs, and that she has her own wholly separate plan already that she's just like...
Yeah, sounds like she
You know?
just definitely wants ownership of him in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Take
don't.
that power.
Just because she's alluded to it, you're right, doesn't necessarily mean that is her final plan
Intentions, yeah.
for him and intention. But either way,
And even more so to be, the fairies would allude. It's like, not my fault you drew the conclusion that I turned you into a dog, idiot.
right?
That's on you,
I never
bitch.
said that.
Yeah.
So Harry does take the extract, and he figures he's got about 6 to 18 hours, and he'll definitely need to get to a hospital.
Yeah, he also drank a bunch of that pink stuff. So apparently, Butcher didn't pay this.
Pepto-Bismol, I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly. Butcher just didn't want to pay the book rights to say.
Copyright infringement.
Right. I love that, though, how that really doesn't exist in books. You can put all of that in, yet in visual media, you need to have the rights to you need to have the rights to music, you need to have the rights to product, but in books he's allowed to say all he wants, that he drank Coke and went to Burger King and drank Pepto-Bismol, and I'm not complaining, it makes it easier, but it's just kind of funny because this is almost like a TV, what they would do, be like, I drank a bunch of that pink stuff because we didn't pay for the rights to actually say we drank or we used Pepto-Bismol, but I was like, you could have here, but regardless. Exactly. Coated his stomach, took the extract, so hopefully he's done as much as he can to slow and null the effects, and hopefully won't drop dead in 5 minutes so he can go do his hero stuff and get dealt with later.
Leah starts to feign leaving in a way, and then she decides to make a loophole to their agreement and calls upon those who owe her to bring Harry to her right away. So they're not actually out of the danger. Now it's just different danger.
Letter of the law, spirit of the law. Leah can't do anything for a year, but she can certainly sick everybody else on him. And Thomas is confused here too, because Thomas is like, because he's like, oh, I don't like this. He's like, because Michael's all like, are you going to be all right or whatever? And Harry's all like, hey, I'm the one that ate the deadly poison, And Thomas is like, wait, what? It's like, you really did? He's like, I thought you were lying. He's like, no, bluffing. He's like, yeah, no, I can't get away with that shit. Like, I actually did it. And Thomas is like, oh my God, once again, you are really freaking insane. Crazy like a fox. But yeah.
Yeah, he really is getting that sort of education. Of crazy.
Thomas is like,
Dresden
wait,
really
what?
is willing to be.
Yeah.
I really like it. You get, I don't know, like, you see it in the future, too, with other, people who join up with Harry, and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But, I don't know, Thomas just gets a real healthy dose right off the bat. It's
right? Like, just like, holy fuck, every time I think you can be more crazy, you go ahead and do something else. And then, so Bob finally pipes back up again. He's like, oh, hey, you're alive, and, not a dog. And he's like, yeah, I poisoned myself. And Bob is like, what the fuck? And he's like, hey, I took, the extract. And Bob's like, well, I hope you got the dose right, because that could kill you just as easily. It's like, oh, man.
Risk
Like, the more you hear about it, the more you're like, this is not a good plan, Dresden. Like, it didn't sound that good a couple pages ago, but the more you get into it, I'm like, you really are, really taking a chance here. Not even just, a calculated risk, it's okay, I know what I'm doing. It's like, you're really flying by the seat of your pants here, bud.
Bob lets them know that there's another mile or two to go, which Michael can't run. He's like, I can't do it. Yeah.
Michael's done at this point, which I think is fair considering, like you say, he outran Harry to the bridge the first time.
That apparently winded him too much for it, though.
Yeah, he's like, all right.
So Dresden tells Thomas and Michael to stay and hold the bridge until he makes it out of the Never Never and just books it.
So, yeah, so they're all catching up to him fast. Because Thomas is all worried and Harry figures, hey, as long as I'm gone, you guys should be safe. Which I think, yes, but I think that's also a pretty big if because, the fairies are not exactly known to be all light and sweetness, as he says, especially not the Winter Court. And I'm like, I don't know, like, they could very easily just turn around and kill Michael and Thomas just because anyways. I'm like, I think you're kind of betting on a lot that just because you're the prime target, you'll leave them alone.
At least he's got Amarachius with him now, so it's not like he's completely defenseless.
That's true. That is a little. But when you've got, I don't know, sounds like a rampaging horde bearing down on you, I still think it was a little bit of a risky call to make.
Especially because you don't know if you can trust Thomas or not.
Right, that's true.
Well, that's true. He's just going to kick Michael into the fray and take off on his own again.
Right. Buddy's already down one rib.
From the first time.
Right.
Worked really well.
Practicing his kicks lately.
Right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's especially like right at the end there, and Thomas is like, you better not leave her there, Dresden, or get killed. And Harry's like, I won't. Especially the second part. It's like a little bit too of like, yeah, fuck you, Thomas. Maybe I will leave your girlfriend there, bitch.
Right.
Which is, sorry, Justine, but yeah, fuck you, Thomas.
Although, really, it's funny because trying to guarantee that part, because again, he's just done a lot to ensure that he won't survive this.
yeah, right?
I'm definitely
I've only
not
got
gonna
13
die,
more poisons on me. How bad things might go.
Sure, the vampires will be fine.
And if you think about it, he got poisoned with Kelly and Kyle in the warehouse, and he got poisoned at the party, and then he just poisoned himself. Like, this immune system is working in overdrive.
Okay, but that's
His
not
body's
poison.
working hard.
That's
vampire venom. Okay, vampire venom and then some poison mushrooms. Like, I don't care.
Okay, but the vampire venom
really
isn't
hard
going
on
to
the
kill
stomach.
him. That's just designed to, like, sedate and make you easy prey.
But he threw it up.
The toxins in his body, though, okay? Like,
that's still hard having to throw up things. Like, that's really hard on the whole system right there.
Well, that too.
yeah.
When he,
Yeah.
threw up the stuff from the party. But anyways, point is, he's definitely not in great shape. So he goes, gets to
Imagine
the right
if COVID
spot.
was a thing right now in the Dresden Files.
Imagine
What's
if
that?
what?
COVID was a thing in the Dresden Files.
Oh, God.
She had to deal with, like, just, like, couldn't even breathe, Like, Leah came up and smelled his breath, like, 2 minutes ago. Like,
Using his shield bracelet as, like, as a gas mask.
literally, like, stay away from me, stay away from me, stay away from me. Like, and trying to interrogate people. And, like, with how often he's, like, stealing, like, blood and other things from crime scenes and stuff like that, like, he'd have himself infected, like, every other day.
Right? Good thing he's a wizard and they heal decently too.
Eventually. Very slowly. Not as slow as poison. Or not as fast as poison.
Yeah. No, he doesn't have any vampire metabolism to work this through.
So anyways, it's just Bob and Harry on the road again. Just two guys. Back at it.
Living their best
First
life.
time in 5 years. Just
Why
these
does
two
the
buds.
littlest hobo come to mind?
And one of Leah's creatures starts to attack, so Dresden makes his run for it. And Bob finds the place where Dresden needs to go to make the opening in the real world, to get to the real world, and starts to try to tell him something. but Dresden's like, yeah, whatever, I got this. I don't
got time for that right now. I got shit coming at me. Yeah. I tried to tell you.
And especially because one chapter ago, he's laying on the ground. You've got Lydia / Nightmare / Kravos above you, like smacking the shit out of you. You are losing consciousness. You can feel your blood boiling at the surface, and your vision is tunneling. And you are like, oh, it's a shame I figured it all out right at the end. And you're thinking to yourself, like, what was Murphy trying to say? What was Susan trying to say? And he's like, shut up, Bob. Stop trying to say shit to me.
Yeah, right. I know.
I
How
hate you,
quickly
Harry.
things
I hate you
change,
so
right?
much.
It's like that, please God, if you just let this happen, I'll never do blah, blah, blah again. And then, of course, the second you're fine, it's all like, oh, well, that was not really,
I don't actually believe in God, so that's on you, God.
So he goes through that portal, only to find himself in a ring of the vampires that Bob was trying to warn him about.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I told you it felt awful thin here, like somebody else just came through, like they were keeping guard.
Bianca's a little bit smarter than you, Harry.
Right. And I mean, again, yes, good distraction. You've got some kind of fairy monsters bearing down on you. The other, right, you're not kind of thinking about what's right ahead that you can't see. But nonetheless, you probably could have stopped and listened to the guy you brought along to help you out in the Never Never to tell you what's going on in the Never Never.
The vampires capture Dresden at Bianca's instructions. They strip him because he needs to be naked again, and drug him with
Well,
their
it's rather
venom.
demoralizing. I will give you that.
And then he finally loses consciousness.
Bob disappears in the fray.
Yeah.
Everything
That's
disappears.
a harsh
yeah.
loss, too.
Yeah.
Loses Bob, loses his staff and rod.
Bob is a
and
pretty
clothes.
invaluable tool to lose.
Right.
I mean,
A dangerous tool to lose.
Even the staff and rod, yeah, but like Bob, damn.
Could you imagine what Bianca could do with Bob?
Well,
with
what
how
anyone
much,
in the universe
with
could
how
do
much
with Bob.
power that she's already amassed in the last
Rather
year?
not.
That's-
Yeah.
That's the issue. What anyone on the universe could do with Bob. I mean, I don't think he's explained how he got Bob yet.
I don't think so.
No.
No, okay. So yeah, but you know,
But
It's a rough tool to
being
lose.
the spirit of air that knows lots. I mean, he says it basically in the first book. He's like, I've forgotten more about magic that you'll ever know. Or Harry makes some reference. He's like, I'd say Bob has forgotten more about it than I'll ever know, but Bob never forgets anything.
Right.
So yeah, there is a lot of knowledge piled up
Yeah.
there.
darkness,
So darkness,
pain.
horrible,
Nothing.
thick, sensual darkness. Bad things happening to our boy. Icky, don't like it. Not good.
Heavily implied bad shit happens to him.
Yeah. Thank you to our Patreon subscribers for your generous support. It's people like you who help us to do what we do. If you're not yet a Patreon subscriber, sign up today and get a fuck ton of bonus content, kick-ass merch, behind-the-scenes outtakes, and more. Sign up today at www.patreon.com/freeflowrambling.
Chapter 34. Dresden wakes up in a locked room with Justine. As they are talking, Justine becomes unresponsive, and the ghost of Rachel appears. Dresden realizes her ghost is trapped there by Bianca. Justin wakes up again, but is controlled by Kravos, who is eager to torture Dresden the minute he falls asleep. Kravos releases Justine, and they notice another person in the room, Susan, who is no longer completely human.
Wolf.
Yeah.
Does Rachel show up in this before Harry gets upstairs?
Yep.
Rachel Paulina.
That's she does the miming
Pauline.
to
I
let
forgot
her
that part. I
know.
was thinking that was just when he gets upstairs that she makes her appearance then, but she does pop
She
in
makes her
down here. Hey,
twice.
okay.
Yep.
So not to be a weirdo, but like my first memories of my dad is when I'm 6 years old. So for Harry to be like the only like memories he's have is Harry was 6 when his dad died, right? So yeah, like I would have nothing if that's all I could remember. So Harry's really got to like hold on to like the threads of whatever it is he does
Of
have,
that
right? 'Cause-
early memory, yeah.
Yeah, because like, yeah, I mean, to be fair, I didn't live with my dad at that age. I guess I have memories of my mom from earlier than that age, so I guess I would have some from then. But yeah, like, I don't have much from before 6 years old. Like, I pretty much have nothing since grade school or I have nothing before grade school started.
And she's been working hard to forget everything else since. Sorry.
It's been a rough 25 years. Harry, I feel you, bud. You and me, peas in a pod.
It's so close.
It's a really nice kind of moment that you get to learn a little bit more of what it was like for Dresden
Oh yeah,
and
a
his
nice
dad.
dissociation of the horror he's living through. Just remember Dad.
Yeah.
Remember the last time I was ever happy when I was 6 years old, 19 years ago.
And what a good guy his dad was, right? Like playing like hospitals and orphanages for the kids, you know, like wasn't out to make big bucks, you know, he just enough to keep him and Harry going and, you know, making kids happy.
So Dresden does sort of come around and find himself lying on a floor, feeling quite sick. And then he remembers the mushrooms that he took and feels the after effects of the vampire venom as well.
I don't know, it's such a sad, because, like, the whole little thing is about, like, whenever he was scared, you know, how his dad would come find him and hold him, and, you know, and it's like, you know, he's like, oh yeah, the monsters can't get you. And he's like, he'd been right until now, until tonight. The monsters got me. And he's like, I just lay there, naked, undone. No one came to hold me. No one came to make it all better. No one had, really, since Dad had died. I'm like, oh, Harry. It's just so sad. Like, just because we've all been there and all done that,
It just really
right?
pulls at the heartstrings at that moment.
It really pulls at the heartstrings, you know? I'm like, yeah, it's like, just literally, like, especially when you're a kid and scared looking. But yeah, even as an adult, right? He's like, there's no one there to comfort me when I'm, like, scared and alone. And this is, like, the ultimate trauma, like you say, right? This isn't just the metaphorical monsters under the bed. This is, like, the actual monsters.
Yeah, he really got. And he says it's like it's nonstop pain, nonstop nausea, nonstop humiliation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
This is what rock bottom feels like. Again.
Yeah. Well,
to a whole new scope.
I was going to say, I think this is, because it's not even just, like, getting beat up and crunched on, right? It's like, you know, they went for all kinds of...
Yeah, well, this wasn't just...
personal.
Yeah, like, sadistic. Like, it was also emotionally...
Yeah, like you say, humiliation
torturous.
And all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can only assume that pretty much every bad thing they could do to him is probably what's been done here. So, yeah, now he's poisoned. He's a little bit more beat up and violated and mentally messed up.
So he's in a small room, what seems like a laundry room, along with a very feral-looking Justine.
She's also naked in there. Not that she had on a lot to start with. Justine's like, I didn't think you'd ever wake up, and no more glamorous girl. She's looking, you know, dirty and kind of roughed up and desolate. And, like, pretty much the first thing she says to him, she's like, I'm not crazy. I know what you're thinking. He's like, I wasn't thinking that. And she's like, oh, yeah, of course I wasn't. So, yeah, all of a sudden now we get some new insight into Justine.
Right. Dresden asks Justine what they did to her. She just tells him that they fed off her. And Dresden's really confused why she's acting so peculiar. And she tells him that this is the way she always is, and that it's Thomas that manages to keep her calm the rest of the time.
Yeah, so Justine has, I mean, she says she's not crazy, but the truth is she's got a little bit of crazy. She's got, like, some chemical imbalance or whatever going on. And she's rough. Like, basically, it's like, first thing she says is, I'm not crazy, and then she, like, scratches him down the face. He's like, you're not? But yeah, exactly. This is why he's like, you know, you don't need to stay with Thomas. Like, it's not good for you. And she's like, you don't understand. That's what balances me out. That's, you know, the drugs don't work or make her sick or whatever. But whatever Thomas does helps to settle that imbalance. So even though she knows technically she's being, you know, fed upon and blah, blah, blah,
she considers it a fair trade.
That's very symbiotic.
Exactly what I was going to say, yeah. So again, she's like, quit trying to save me from myself and from Thomas. Like, that actually works, right?
Harry asks Justine how long he's been there, and she thinks about 12 hours or so, which gives his odds for those mushrooms a very, very short window.
Like, it was like, what, supposed to be 6 and 18 hours,
yeah,
I think?
He's lucky he woke up at all.
Yeah, fully, like, dude. And he says, like, he'd vomited blood all over himself.
Yeah.
Like that's some of the signs of the poison working. So it's like...
Yeah, not to mention all the other atrocities, I'm sure, the vampires
Justine throws in there, like, they tortured you for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Of that 10 or whatever, you know? So, yeah, fuck.
Which is a good thing he probably doesn't remember being tortured for 2 hours. It sounds like he checked out.
Disassociate as much as possible, yeah.
Yeah. And she tries to put a nice twist on it or whatever. She's like, well, almost everyone dies in a hospital. She's like, you'd get to be someplace different. Isn't that better? He's like, it's one of those things I could live without. Or not.
While they're talking, Justine becomes completely unresponsive, just totally checks right out.
Yeah, she's basically
gone.
Catatonic or whatever, yeah.
And then suddenly a ghost manifests in front of Harry, and it's Rachel, who is killed by Bianca.
That started most of this whole mess in the first place, right?
And Dresden kind of figures out from her miming that Bianca has bound her ghost to the mansion, so she can't leave. Like she's exhausted. Like she's wants release, and she can't.
Well, essentially, yeah, like Harry says, he's like, no shit, Bianca hated me so much. She fucking like tortured Rachel Pauline and tortured herself by keeping Rachel Pauline haunting this place. Like, yeah, I mean, like, whatever. You've got this like, you know, Alexa waking you up every morning like, you killed me because of Harry, you killed me because of Harry, you killed, you know, like, fuck, that'd make me crazy too. I'd kill Jeff Bezos too, anyway.
I am so glad you don't have an Alexa. Although I'm tempted to sneak one in now and program it to say that to you every morning.
No.
It kind of reminds me of
the
like
robots in my house.
what's that? Oh crap! It's a Dan Brown book that got turned into a movie.
Oh, the Da Vinci Code?
Yeah, where that one priest guy is like totally torturing himself, like when he
the self-flagellation.
Yes, and he uses that whip-like thing. It's like exactly what she's doing to herself, just complete self-flagellation each time.
Yeah. But yeah, so Harry kind of does a check-in here. So finds out that, yes, Rachel's tired. She wants to move on. She doesn't want to be stuck in this ghostly place anymore. And he's like, I didn't kill you. You know that, right? And she nods. And he's like, but I am sorry that, you know, being in the wrong place at the wrong time set you up to die. So at least he kind of has that. He's like, even though he sort of knows it wasn't his fault, I'm sure it's kind of nice to get reassurance from the victim itself and be like...
Right. You know, well, especially since he's got that hero complex going on. It's good that he can take at least one person off of his guilt plate.
Yeah, so he kind of wants to get some more information, but she's done and slips away.
Yeah, because Justine comes around and that completely scares Rachel off. But it's not actually Justine, it's Kravos.
So he's like, you need to get a life in the worst way. So he finally figures out that creepy phone call way from the beginning of the book, that was Kravos at that point.
It's his last physical call.
Yeah. Soon. It was really funny, actually, because I was just listening to, I think I've mentioned it once or twice before, but a podcast I listen to sometimes called Bedtime Stories, where they cover a lot of like supernatural stuff. And that was literally the one I listened to yesterday, where it was like calls from beyond. And it was talking about like how many people have had phone calls with people that presumably died like a few hours before the call was made or whatever. So it's like, it was Kravos' last call, but was it his last physical call? Who knows? Maybe he already killed himself first.
I was gonna say, most adults have a lot less nightmares because, like, the things you become afraid of is, like, taxes.
Yeah.
And, like, getting a speeding ticket, you know, right? But, like, I can see now why Mom is constantly bringing up the fact that she has nightmares, because she's literally putting herself to bed with fucking horror stories every night. Like,
oh, it's called
no
Bedtime
shit,
Stories.
lady.
I don't actually listen to it before I go to bed as a bedtime story. Oh, because I would freak myself out and give myself nightmares, probably. No, I listen to it, like, in the daytime.
Damn, dude.
It's just... And it is... It's creepy, but they always also put sort of a regular... Like, they give you the plausible explanations as well. Like, it's not, like, hardcore.
Take away the scare factor.
Right.
A little bit, yeah. They always kind of temper it a little bit with, like, it could have been this. I mean, it really doesn't make sense, but yeah, no, I don't. If I listened to them at dark going to bed, I probably would have, like, nightmares every night, just because my imagination is like that.
I work nights at a gas station, and I don't have any coworkers. It's always just be by myself, and I always just, like, put it in the earbud and listen to, like, Crime Stoppers. Listen to them, like, explain, like, how someone murdered their husband or something in the middle of the night. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, see, I can't do, like, a lot of true crime, but that's just too dark and stuff like that. So even while some of this is like that, it's like, it's creepy, but it's...
You went from gas station to gas station, murdering clerks. And I'm like, yeah, next episode.
Yeah, right.
But not when I'm going to sleep. That's crazy.
Yeah, no. That's when you're actually alone in the middle of the night with weird people walking in all the time. So yeah, Kravos is possessing Justine now. They're having another nice little chat. And,
Oh, the one good thing is that, yeah, like, the vampires tried to feed on Harry and he made them all sick with his poison blood, so at least for the most part, they left him alone in that one specific way.
Yeah.
Yes, at least that's true.
That's, like, at least one thing.
Really saved his life right there, because Bianca was really wanting to, like, have everybody just feed off him until he died. But nope.
He was poisoning her vampires, so unfortunately she just threw him in this cell with
Yeah, she's like, well, we can't fucking eat him, so now what? I guess we'll just have to save him
Let him
later
die.
for some more torture or something.
Well, and Kravos lets on that he's banking that Dresden will fall asleep before he dies and plans to torture him as long as he can possibly can. And right after he threatens Dresden, he basically releases Justine and lets her go.
It's kind of a toss-up now. It's like which one of them, like Bianca kind of wants to finish him off, but Kravos wants to have a go at him. So he's like, whichever one of us will just keep kind of torturing you and beating up until you die on one of us kind of a thing. But hopefully, we'll both still get some fun out of this first. And Justin's like, awesome. Okay, that's cool. Thanks. But he does kind of, he does invite him in. He's like,
Bring it on.
He's like, you want to look at me? He's like, tapped my head. He's like, come on in. There's a few things in here I'd like to show you. Right? So it's like, now that you haven't caught me, like, off guard when I'm not expecting it sleeping, he's like, he's like, you want to play around in my head? He's like, come on fucking in. I'll play around with you. But yeah, Kravos is just like, oh no, I can wait a bit. It's fine. It's good. And then, like, taunts him about Justine a little bit, too. That, like, part of, like, why the whites and stuff love her is because she's so emotional and kind of wackadoodle that it just, makes her extra exciting and tempting, and Dresden's just like, fuck off. Like, quit being that much more, like, gross and depraved and everything, right? Like,
So Dresden is consoling Justine and trying to think of a plan, and then they notice movement from one of the laundry piles. And he investigates and finds Susan. Susan is complaining of being super thirsty and the light hurts. Justine's like, no, don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there.
Dresden's
don't
like,
do
you've
it.
got a fever, He's like, can you roll over? And
And Justine is very like, you're not gonna like it. Like, don't go over there. Like, don't face it. Don't, like, she's like, she went from, she's been crazy. She's been quiet. But right now she's like, really like, Harry, like, leave this one alone.
Well, again,
Obviously-
right now, does he
obviously,
know? He's like, is she just being crazy? Or is this another
Yeah,
dog
right.
moment? You won't like
And Harry,
it.
yeah.
They changed her. The red court changed her. Bianca changed her.
Mr. Dresden, who still doesn't remember him.
Right.
Mr. Dresden, I'm so thirsty.
Thirsty. Dresden catches a glimpse of Susan's eyes, which are completely black. Justin reveals that Bianca changed Susan into a vampire.
Yeah.
Or close to, somewhat.
They changed her either way.
Yeah. They changed her to
The
a varying degree.
The specifics will come up.
Chapter 35. Susan gets her first taste of blood and begins to advance on Harry. He distracts her with a bloody towel and begins working a memory spell. Harry tells Susan that he loves her, which allows the spell to work, breaking Leah's enchantment in the process. Dresden comes up with a new plan for escape.
So Harry, does a little bit of the flail and backing away from Susan. Is all like, what do we do? What do we do? And Justine gets to be the talking head now and gives us the information we need. And as, you alluded to in the last chapter, that she's not fully changed, not until she feeds. So as long as you can keep a red court vampire from feeding.
From fully feeding and killing someone.
Yes, they don't fully.
They have to kill, yeah.
They have to kill, yeah. They have to kill and then feed on it. So as long as Susan doesn't do that, she will not be a full vampire.
Yeah.
But in the interim, she's got some super strength, but not max capacity.
Right.
So she's not.
Yeah, we're not really sure what exactly
Fully?
she can, what she is yet. She's not human.
She's not
but she's
human.
not vampire.
But she's not vampire. Yeah. So yeah, she's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hybrid.
Thrall. Not thrall.
Definitely struggling with this desire for blood.
Yeah, thirsty. Thirsty.
Well, yeah,
thirsty.
so this is, like, the whole thing, right, is that Bianca's like, well, I can sort of stick the knife into both of them, right? So she changes Susan enough that she's, like you say, on her way to becoming, but she gives her, like, Dresden as her, right? So Susan won't care when she turns, because that's the whole, but basically, yeah, she gets to kill her lover and become that monster, and Dresden gets to be killed by his lover that he couldn't save and watch her fully turn and become a monster with his
it could have
death,
been
so
very
it's-
Romeo and Juliet here.
Well, I think it's
Could have been.
kind of sort of what we're going, but not, yeah.
Because if she feeds off of him, she dies too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid poison blood.
Exactly.
Dresden continues to ask Justine what can they do for her. Justine basically just suggests, well, she can kill her while she's weak. Which
Thanks,
Dresden
Justine.
is not willing to do. And Justine figures either way, the poison in Dresden's blood might kill her if she feeds off of him anyway. So
Yeah.
she's like, I don't know. I think we're screwed.
Yeah, he's like, we're already dead, Dresden, so, like, either way. So, yeah, he goes into desperation mode here.
Yeah, and he's thinking about the soul gaze.
Yeah.
Because he's like, listen, nothing ever stops. He said it before. He's like, if you see something with your third eye or you have a soul gaze, it sticks with you forever. Like, you can't forget that. It's going to be there always, always. So he's like, so that means Leah couldn't have taken it. She could have hidden it and covered it up or, disguised it, but it's still got to be there. Like, nothing Leah can do about that one. That one is soul, okay? So he's basically like, all right, build off of that. Fix this problem starting there, grasping at straws, and not even like you're running around your apartment looking for candles and stuff. Like, he's fully naked, has nothing, like not even your duster on you. Like, he's got nothing on him, and he's not good at precision magic. So good luck, buddy. You're at your tip top shape right now. Go
Bunch
for
of
it.
dirty vampire laundry.
Well, he's quite innovative whether he decides to do it. Like, he takes a hair from her head and then like spits in his hand and weaves it around weaves the creates a bond.
Cat in the cradle and
And then he starts trying to push his own memories through that bond that they already have.
Yeah, makes that connection between them through like the hair and the spit and the whatever, right? Basically just pushes raw magic against it to try and beat down the walls.
Right. And he's really struggling with this spell, and she's starting to like lick and bite him.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, she's not really working with him here, yeah. She's distracted. She's got her mind somewhere else, and he's like not helping. Both, I'm sure, from the, seductive factor of his girlfriend crawling all over him, but also, for also the potential danger factor, right? So it could be distracting enough if he just, was trying to avoid like a makeout section. But it's like, considering that could be a very deadly makeout section. It's like, yeah.
And the one moment that finally happens, Dresden tells her, "I love you." Finally.
Da-da-da-da.
Which much like a Disney film,
Right.
allows the spell to finally work, and it breaks Leah's spell as well. And
this whole
Susan
book-
finally remembers Harry.
And this whole book started with like Michael being like, "Tell her you love her. When are you gonna marry her? Like, just tell her you love her. Like,
It was very
solves
important.
everything, Harry." And yeah, here we
Well, it
are.
doesn't solve everything, but yes.
But still, he was, Michael was
Yeah.
very insistent on how Harry had to do this, and
Yeah.
here we
Power
are.
of love.
It's really close to that true love's kiss. Like, just say the words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, why it worked right then, why the webbing of my godmother spell frayed as though the words had been an open flame, I don't know. I haven't found any explanation for it. There aren't any magical words, really. The words just hold the magic. They gave it a shape and a form. They made it useful. Describe the images within. So yeah, some words do have power, and those 3 words are good ones. Yeah, so boom, so that helps. So she's still got a problem. But at least she remembers more about him and has more of, again, that connection, that bond, which makes her less inclined to immediately just say, fuck it, and let me rip your throat out.
Right, and her eyes finally become human again, and she's able to stop herself from feeding off of Dresden.
As tenuous it is, she comes back to herself a bit.
She's able to take a step back from the edge. But that's the thing, is that she is still hungry and
addiction doesn't go away despite that. And she alludes to it in the moment when she recognizes Harry. She's like, essentially alludes to the same, what happened to Justine and what happened to Harry. To a lesser degree, she was still dressed and all, but she's like, they got me too. Like, I tried to fight them. I tried, and she breaks down crying as well, and you can just the 3 of them.
Hard to say again if it's anything more like that or whether it was simply the fact that she got eaten by the monsters and half turned, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of devastation on all 3 of their accounts.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Just like emotionally and physically fucked up.
Yeah.
Susan asks Dresden how they're going to escape the mansion, and he is completely exhausted from that last spell. And so she asks him, well, can you just sleep that off? And he's like, no, because that's when Kravos is going to attack.
Yeah, he's like, Kravos would have his chance to torture me.
Should throw in too that Susan is like, I love you too. She says it back.
Right.
She's like,
Yeah.
like, mutual, like, you
Yeah.
should also get to hear it. We're both gonna die tonight. I love you, you love me, okay.
Yeah.
Because,
And then he's like, that's it. That's what needs to happen. She's like, what? He's like, I need to go to sleep and die. She's like, wait, what? So yeah, he's trying to, can Susan, hang on for a bit more, like, keep it together. and try to ignore crazy Justine in the meantime, and hopefully not have her get possessed.
Please don't eat Justine.
Right? Like, you just go sit quietly in a corner for a moment, okay? Thanks for all your help before and explaining what happened, but
I'm roughly here to save both of you, so if you can not eat each other,
yeah,
don't go crazy on each other.
I know you're not really emotionally invested in Justine, so just for my sake, please.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I made a promise.
I know she's not in love with you, but
Yeah, right.
just pretend for a couple hours.
So Susan says, all right. And he's like, okay. And this is basically what she says. He's like, I need to be asleep long enough to start dreaming. She's like, but Kravos, Susan said, Kravos will get inside of you. He'll kill you. Yeah, I said. I took a slow breath. I'm pretty much counting on it. What?
This episode is rough.
Right.
Whole lot of bad.
Whole lot of bad.
This concludes our episode 8.19, Mushrooms for Liberty. Thank you for listening. You can find us online at freeflowrambling.com and McAnally's.ca. There we have links to our other podcasts, social media, and other fun tidbits. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing, and please consider supporting us through Patreon to keep the magic alive and to see more content. We are Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.